What is going on, everybody? Today we're looking at some McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse figures, just kind of an array of figures here. So first off, we have the red platinum Jade, which looks really cool. She's kind of like a Green Lantern, somewhat similar to that, and the daughter of Alan Scott. Then we get two Superman. So first we have Superman from the New 52 storyline, so really nice to have him in that more modern comic design, which looks pretty cool, like that design overall for him. And then we have another Cyborg Superman. This time he's a little bit different, where he's more of the evil version. I mean, he's already somewhat evil, but even more evil version. I'll go into more of that storyline, and both of those Superman are gold labels, and I believe probably Target exclusive. I know that's where we found them, but I assume that they're only found at Target, so I'm going to expect them to be exclusive to there. But all three figures look pretty cool, and I'm excited to check them out. So let me get them open out of the box, and we'll take a look at them together. So we're going to start off with Jade, who is Jennifer Lynn Hayden. She's the daughter of Alan Scott and Thorne, but was given up for adoption and separated from her twin brother. But due to her father's exposure to magic energy, she was born with metahuman powers, and her powers are similar to the Green Lantern Corps, with the ability to generate green energy and shape it into constructs, all from the star mark on her palm. So she has the ability to control the power of the star heart, as well as form energy constructs, phasing, force fields, and flight. So she looks pretty cool here. Of course, looks like the Jade as I know and remember, so looks pretty awesome there with her green skin and green hair. I love how she has the little design on her chest. Not sure what's supposed to be. It always kind of reminds me of like a nuclear sort of design, but it's, just sort of all sorts of lines there. And green on her white outfit. Got some green on the arm. Don't know if it's like her skin or just part of her costume, but they're on her arms, around her hips as well. So that looks like part of the costume design. And she's using that old Catwoman body, so using the same base body that they've painted, with the green and white designs. And then, of course, some of her construct effects or whatever they're coming out of her hand, just the flame effects though, but just nice to have that represented with the see-through green design like the Green Lanterns have. But for movements, the head will twist all the way around, a little stiff there in her head. Actually, I don't know what's going on. I can't really get a twist. I can go side to side, but that's about it. The extent of it, shoulders up to 90 with the butterfly just a little back and forth and twist all the way around. We get the bicep twist at the arm there. So since it has those sleeves coming up, it does have a twist there. Then the double elbow joint, that'll bend all the way up on itself. And then down to the wrist will twist all the way around and flex back and forth on the joint there. Then she has the ab crunch, so crunch back and forth and twist around. And then at the waist, crunch back and forth and twist around. Then we get the hips that'll come up to 90 and out to the side, can only go that far forward, pretty much no thigh twist on it. Then the double knee joint that bends up that far to back, kicking herself in the butt, and then down to the foot rock back and forth and twist side to side with the toe joint on the end. So pretty decent movements. Like I said, we've seen this body before, so it's nothing new or surprising there. Works about as all the others, so it's fine for what she has here. Now, accessory wise, she does come with some additional hands, so we just get some like standard grip hands in the white, so if you don't want to have her power effects, but of course for her we'll want those. And then we get the base. We'll put her on, since she does have the high heels. It is kind of hard to get her to stand, so we'll definitely put her on the base. So hopefully that'll keep her standing there for us. And then of course we get her cards. So there's a nice picture design of her from the Green Lantern Corps, so pretty nice for that. And then we get her story on the back, which says, given up for adoption and raised separately, twins Jennifer Lynn Hayden and Todd Rice Obsidian are the children of Green Lantern Alan Scott and the villainous Thorne. Jennifer Lynn discovered her abilities to wield the mystical energies of Starheart when she was attacked as a teen. Her powers were triggered and her hair and skin turned green, so there's more explanation for her powers and everything. So that's pretty cool. And as I mentioned, of course, her dad is Alan Scott, so we can bring in our Alan Scott Green Lantern there to have them together. And of course, we can put her with the Green Lantern Corps. She has pretty much their exact same powers, so it would fit in well with that as well. So very awesome to get Jade added to the collection. Then we've got the New 52 Superman, which of course is still Clark Kent or Kal-El. And overall, it's pretty much the same story as our normal Clark Kents. It's just the New 52 ran from 2011 following the Flashpoint event all the way to 2016 when they did the DC Rebirth. And it revamped the look of Superman with no romantic relationship with Lois Lane. Jonathan and Martha Kent have died, and Superman was shown as being more short-tempered. So it looks pretty good here, of course, with the New 52 design. To me, at least, he looks more younger, especially in the figure here. Now, from the card, he does look, pretty much like Superman, about the same age you normally see, but to me especially, he looks younger here. And overall, pretty neat costume design. Like, of course, still Superman, so we get the blues and the reds, yellow. Of course, we don't get the underwear this time, so he just has the blue underwear with the red belt, which I like how it has the Superman like shield logo, so that's pretty nice. Of course, has the shield on his chest with a stylized S to make it look a little different, and love the red outline, so around like the color of his neck, here at his wrists as well, so we get some red designs, and then the red boots that look cooler, so it's like a much more design instead of just a smooth boot on him. So a nice design added to that as well. So just threw in some added flourishes to him. And then he has the red cape on the back, which is fabric here, but no metal wire or anything, and has a black S on the back of it. So it looks pretty nice, but just a nice flowing cape there for him. And then his face, like I said, especially here on this figure, does look quite younger, but overall, you know, it just looks like a younger version of Superman, so I'm fine with it. But for movements, his head will twist all the way around, look down that far and up that far, so pretty decent. Shoulders will come up to 90 with the butterfly and rotate around. Get a bicep twist and the double elbow joint that bends all the way up on itself. We get the wrist that'll twist all the way around and flex back and forth. Then we get the ab crunch, it'll crunch back and forth and should be able to twist. Yeah, it's kind of stiff there, but yeah, just twist a little there. And then, of course, at the waist, crunch and twist all the way around. Then we get the hips that come up to 90 and out to the side to the splits there. Little bit of a thigh twist and the double knee joint that bends up that far to the back, which isn't bad. Then we go down to the foot that'll rock back and forth and twist side to side with the toe joint, which is kind of stuck there. It's there on the end. So pretty decent movements, so nothing wrong with it or anything. Don't see any issues, so it works out pretty good and good range for the movements. So although the look may not be classic or anything, still a pretty good Superman here. Now accessory wise, don't really get anything at all with him. We do get the base, we'll put him on. And then of course we also get his card as well. So there's a picture of him from New 52. Like I said, here he doesn't look as young as like the figure does, but still good with that design. You know, see they can kind of copied it. Don't really see much of the red. I guess they're right at the outline of his hand. There is some red, not as much as it shows on the figure here, but looks good overall still. And of course we get the story on the back, which says after the continuity altering event known as Flashpoint, the Superman was reborn into the main universe. Earth Zero was younger than the previous incarnation and had a different personal history, as well as only a casual friendship with Lois Lane. Interference from the near omnipotent being Dr. Manhattan had split Superman's continuity into two, with the other half living in the shadows with his wife Lois and their son John Kent. During the battle with the fifth dimensional imp called Mr. Mxyzptlk, Superman managed to merge his personal histories into one streamlined timeline, his past and life becoming one with that of the so-called New 52 Superman. So there's good explanation related to the New 52 storyline and all that. So cool just to have the Superman. Definitely not necessary, but we have some other New 52 like the Batman and stuff, so these could easily go along with it. But overall, I do like the design. It just, like I said, not that classic Superman look to me. And finally, we have Cyborg Superman, which is very similar to the Cyborg Superman we've already looked at not too long ago. It's still Hank Henshaw and has pretty much the same storyline, that Hank eventually made his way to the planet Biot, at least I hope that's how you say it's, BIOT, in Sector 3601, the home world of the Manhunters, and he became their new Grandmaster. He would gather Green Lanterns that were previously believed to be dead and use them as a power source and make new Manhunters called the High Masters. So that's why he's supposed to be here, where he's wearing more of this red design instead of the normal Superman blues and all that. So it looks pretty good here. Like I said, unfortunately, we've already looked at the Superman, so it's going to be exactly the same body. I loved it though, like that last Cyborg Superman I love, so this one's good, especially the cyborgness coming down the left side of his face over to the right to get the right side of his body. So his right arm is all cyborgness as well as his abdomen. Then going back to the left with his leg there, so from the thigh down is all cyborg, with the rest being normal, I guess, aside from some here on his right leg. But we get the black and red costume design this time, so red top here, red underwear, black belt with some silver design instead of the yellow, and then we get black leggings as well going down to the red boots, and he's got black cape on the back as well, no S or anything, and it does have the metal wire here in the fabric design, so that's pretty nice with that overall. So it looks pretty good just for an alternate design. Of course, with this, with it being all red and stuff and being with the Manhunters, you know, going against the Lanterns, you could be like, oh, it's like a red lantern or something. It's not supposed to be that at all, but that's what it easily could work out as. Now, movement-wise, the head will twist all the way around, look down that far and up that far, so not too bad with the movements. Kind of spiky hair there, hurts a little. Shoulders up to 90 with the butterfly and rotates around. Bicep twist, double elbow, bends all the way up on itself. Wrist twist around with the ball joint hinge. Then we get the ab crunch, so upper crunch that moves just a little back and forth and can twist around there. And then, of course, at the waist, crunch and twist around. Then we get the hips that'll come up to 90 and out to the side to the splits there. A little bit of a thigh twist, not much, but the double knee joint that'll bend up that far to the back. And then we get the foot that'll rock back and forth and twist side to side with the toe joint on the end. So it moves exactly like that last Cyborg Superman, so obviously nothing surprising there. It's just the same exact body, just different colors. And accessory-wise, he does come with some additional hands, so we get a fist hand for the left. He just has like a claw hand or whatever, and then a pointing finger hand, which I do kind of like that. I may switch that out. So that I went and switched the hands out just like that pointing hand for him. He of course comes with the base, we'll put him on, and his cards. So there's a nice picture of him from Revenge of the Green Lantern. So there's what he looks like from the comics. Looks like holding some kryptonite in his hand, or could have some sort of Green Lantern power, I guess. And then we get the story on the back, which I won't read for you because it's the exact same story that the last Cyborg Superman had, so nothing particular to this version of Cyborg Superman, so I'll just leave it at that. But speaking of that Cyborg Superman, here is that one. So there's what our normal Cyborg Superman looked like, again in the normal Superman colors. So absolutely love this figure, so nice to have it again, just with this more evil version of it. He was already evil, but just now an even more evil. And as I said, he kind of goes to the planet and leads the Manhunters now. So we have our 2 Manhunters we can bring in as well. So we can have him in charge of them there now, sort of leading, using that pointing finger hand to tell him to attack or whatever. So that looks pretty cool, getting this more evil version of Cyborg Superman. Well, that's it for our DC Multiverse figures today, where we got Jade, New 52 Superman, and Evil Cyborg Superman. All 3 are pretty cool. Love adding the Jade to the collection, and then the 2 Superman, you aren't necessary. Don't really need the New 52, but I do like the New 52 design, so it's always cool just to have them, but it's not necessary. And then we already have the normal Cyborg Superman, so this one's never necessary, but just cool to have them. Like I showed you, we can put him with the Manhunters, kind of leading them there. So nice additions to the collection, but not necessary for those 2. But still 3 cool figures overall. So let me know what you thought of the 3 down in the comments, and if you enjoyed my review, let me know what that like, and hit the subscribe button to see more. But I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all stay awesome out there, and I'll see you in our next review.